Welcome back to the second segment of the day for Kindred Spirits. We have our, I think, third guest of the year for Kindred Spirits, Paige Metayer. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Let's get started. I think we always you're a rookie. I think starting at the start is a good place to start for people to get familiarized with you. We'll start with college. What led you to choose Cal Berkeley besides the amazing campus that I love a whole bunch from having lived a little bit about out there?
Yeah, I absolutely love UC Berkeley. I had a great 4.5 years there. And I think when I was like starting my college journey and looking at schools, I really didn't visit many. I visited Berkeley and I just knew that was a place for me between the academics. It was the perfect distance from home since I'm from SoCal. And obviously the team and the coaches really create a great atmosphere. So I have no there.
Just far enough that you won't go home every weekend because it'll be a little bit annoying. Yeah, I think that's cool. What was your favorite? Again, there's been a few people that I've interviewed that have been NorCal either residents or going to school there. Where did you like to eat? Where was your favorite spot to eat in the sort of around the college campus?
Oh yeah, there's this place called Mezzo right on Telegraph, which is like our main street, and they have some really good breakfast burritos and really
Mm,
breakfast toast that we would always go to every weekend.
awesome. Yeah, I usually just went to the record stores in Berkeley a lot. I live in Sacramento. I would just come up there on weekends and there's a poutine place, which is weird but I would go there because it was funny to me and I love poutine, so couldn't get away from that. Every article that mentions you in your early career always talks about your success running track. Was there any possibility that you were like, I could do that? I could do that in college too, or was it, one track? You kept it soccer only.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, growing up, I got a few college letters from track. Actually, it was funny. I joked with my college coach because Cal actually sent me a letter to run track there. But for me, soccer's always been so much more of my focus and more of my love for sure. So I didn't put too much thought into it. But yeah, there was definitely some consideration, but not too much.
It's a good thing to have in your back pocket too. Like if anything, like I could always go run, coach. Like things don't go so great, I've got another coach on campus that probably would love to see me. Uh, During those 4 years, 4.5 years, so you started. I think you played in 13 games your freshman year. It gradually went up over and over the course of your career. There was there, you know, what was your long term plan in mind when you were there? Were you thinking NWSL is a reasonable place where I could land, or did it sort of, did it occur to you later in your college career, or just how did that go? What was that thought process like?
Yeah, that was interesting for me because obviously UC Berkeley is a great academic school, and that was my priority just out of high school to go there for that. And soccer ended up being great. I absolutely loved it. I knew when I took an option, and especially with the coaching staff and the environment. And I guess as my college career progressed, I knew what exactly I wanted to do. And I said, why not give it a try? And I think when I chose to take my 5th year, that's when I really solidified that decision. And I decided that if I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this for another semester, then might as well take it all the way and see what I can do with it.
I love to ask this question because there is this on every single college student's athletics page. There's always like, what do they want to do? And I think they usually probably update it at the beginning of their freshman year and then don't touch it. It says interested in pursuing a career in research. Very, very specific. That they got you to what was that manifesting? What was your course load like? Were you focused on anything in particular? Did that change? What was the academic side like for you?
Yeah, well, UC Berkeley is one of the premier research institutions, but honestly, when I came in, I knew I was really interested in the STEM side of things, and I actually was interested in possibly doing chemistry, and that changed pretty quick. I ended up doing data science and econ, but yeah, it was just more so of, I mean, that's what the school is known for, and
Sure.
I'll give it a shot with that, but we'll see.
I'm laughing imagining like hard science data research and also or hard science like chemistry research like and also I'm on the college team and also I'm going to be a professional soccer, like it seems that's a unusual like marriage of extreme aptitude. So for sure. Just thinking of this now as sort of with that natural inclination and interest in data, have you enjoyed, they have certainly more now than the last couple of years, the amount of data that's being thrown off for professional soccer and WSL, MLS, all those sports. You've got an 8K drone that's flying around flying around practice and feeding all sorts of data about performance on the field. There's data going off the field with the athletic training department that's analyzing everything about what you're eating and sleeping. Is that does not scare you? That is you certainly are encountering that and probably being like, this is cool. I like the quantified life that I'm living doing all this, I would imagine.
Yeah, I definitely like looking at the numbers. I always go up to our person that deals with the numbers. I'm like, how much did I run today? Like, it's really interesting to look at, truly. And I think we just have such great staff and so many resources, as you said, give us those analytics. And yeah, it's really fun to look at. It's really interesting.
So let's talk about how the invite to training camp occurred with the Spirit. Who were you in contact with? Was it an agent? Was it Mark Corey? And how did that come about for you?
Yeah, prior to the draft, Ange actually sent me a text and was like, can we meet with you? Just a quick Zoom call. I know they met with tons of people, but even from then I was like, oh, like that's interesting. Like wasn't exactly expecting that. And then after the draft, immediately when the draft ended, I got a call from the coaching staff and they were like, we want to invite you into camp. And it kind of just went from there. I got a few other invites, a few texts, but Mark Parsons was actually in contact with me throughout the process, which was really nice and made me feel like this is a good place that really cares about their players and really values them. So that's kind of what led me to do.
Was going into the draft process, were you sort of eyes open, how things are going to go, how they go? Obviously, you were speaking to a lot of teams. You had pre-draft interviews. Did the process go sort of how you thought it would? Or were you surprised? What was that? I'm sure you want to hear your name called. In general, that would be the preferable. But I think the thing that people who are just getting into NWSL are realizing there aren't enough teams for the amount of extremely skilled players that could play in the league, without a doubt. There aren't enough roster spots. There's too many good players in this country. So what was the draft process night and I guess multiple days like for you?
Yeah, it was certainly interesting. I mean, I went into it with an open mind. I think coming out of college, I knew that being drafted was certainly not a guarantee, but just, might as well throw my name out there and see what happens. And I mean, it ended up working out better than I expected, truly, if I'm being honest. So no regrets there.
Speaking of it working out really well, so I think I'm trying to think if it was the second game of the year. I was in a press conference with Mark Parsons, and I brought you up, and he was like, he just speaks immediately glowing of what you brought to the team. Obviously, he was getting that impression through preseason and how that was going, and then also once the season started, and he made it sound like, you're one of the first names in the team sheet when he's putting things together. And on a team with the names that are on this team, that has to feel kind of amazing, particularly how you describe the process up to that moment. Regardless of game plan, is like, Paige brings something that is unique and needed in the midfield the way we want to play. So how does that feel to become so essential to the team that you're playing on after all the things we just discussed about how it was sort of it wasn't necessarily a foregone conclusion that this would be where you'd be this year?
Yeah, honestly, the past few months have been a whirlwind. I came in here thinking I'd be here for a few weeks and with an open mind. And obviously, it's worked out for it to be a few months and hopefully a few years. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey, truly. I mean, obviously, I didn't expect any of this, and I'm incredibly grateful for the way it worked out. But yeah, it feels obviously really reassuring that this coaching staff and all my teammates and all my players have been so supportive and, yeah, really have wanted the best for me and been there along for the ride. So it's been crazy, but yeah, it's felt good.
How quick do you think it takes, and maybe you're already here, how quick do you think it takes to get sort of like that mental shift from like, I can't believe that this has occurred, it's a whirlwind, every day is kind of a surprise, to it being like, yeah, I've got a 3-year contract, I'm playing every week, and you never know if you're going to start it all the time, be like, this is, I'm here, I'm a professional soccer player, this is my job now. Do you feel like you're there already, or is it still, you still feel like you're sort of in the acceptance phase of the of the change process?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I'll ever be there. It's truly
That's fair.
1 week at a time. Yeah. But yeah, one game, 1 week at a time, and that's as far in advance that I look.
That is a professional athlete question and answer right there. So you already got that down. how do you characterize your style of play? Because if you ask me, this is just a very small sample size. I've just gotten to see you since the season started. I would say extremely tenacious defensively, great anticipation of movement, sort of knowing where to be, where to meet the other player with the ball before they get there and before they're ready. Very comfortable with the ball at your feet and under pressure. Am I close? Do you feel like that's sort of describes the way you describe your play, or am I missing something there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's pretty accurate. I think all of college I played the six, so that really changes how I play my new eight role now. So I think it's slightly different than how I've played in the past for sure. But as you said, like the defensive work rate, all that type of stuff, like I love bringing that to the game. And I think that's been super helpful within this league. So yeah, I think you kind of hit it, but
Well, there you go. That's why they listen to the show for the analysis. That's what it is. Yeah, but our yeah, I think that the every game. So the funny part is that your first game in the league, the players you had to shut down from a midfield perspective. Again, I'll hold my hand up on this. I got the team sheet up in the press box of this first game. I'm like, okay, all right, wow. I thought maybe not a starter in the first game, but I thought we'll see how this goes, and that was you were the first name called out and the post game, just sort of like immediately, like sometimes players, or oftentimes players, have to, like, it's a long process to catch up to speed and to sort of uh, particularly in this league, it's such a star-studded league. There are players that when you're in college, you come out to the pros. Like, I watched these players play for 5 years. I've seen them in the World Cup. I've seen them, and now all of a sudden I'm thrown into the mix in week one. It was the poise and their ability to sort of perform in that sort of the long way to run up. Do you feel like you were nervous going into that, or was it just like, this is all right? Yeah, no, certainly I expected to be playing Rose Lavelle and just Fishlock and putting them in my pocket in the first game of my pro career.
yeah, that was crazy, honestly. I remember I didn't know anything to expect on game day. I was like, I don't even know how this works.
Where do I park? How do I get into the building? What's going on here?
This is a lot. But obviously, the nerves were there for sure. But I kind of just, if you're going to put me on the field, I know what I have to do and I know what I have to get done. And once you get out there, there's no time for nerves, really. It's just you have a task and you're there to complete it. So that's kind of the way I looked at it. But yeah, leading up to it, I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to try.
I feel like that helps sometimes, right? Like, it's not naivete in like a negative way, but it's sort of like in the, you don't get so overwhelmed by knowing what to expect. Or it's like, who knows? Who surprise me, world? I'm just gonna the universe is gonna present what I'm gonna experience here this weekend.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote this ahead of I just, this is a very like general question, and I've asked this to pretty much in the last couple of years. I've talked to pretty much everybody on the team, but the question's always sort of like, from a career ambitions perspective, like, and it's challenging for you because this is not necessarily, for it's been a year and a half where you thought, yeah, professional soccer seems like way to go, but like, as you're in it now, like, do you want to use this game as an opportunity to see the world some? Do you, like, is there ever a desire to say, and it's a challenge because this league is, regarded as the one of the best, or the best in the world to be playing in. Is there a desire to travel? Do you want to play abroad? Is that something that you've ever thought of in the year and a half where you thought about this as being a possibility? In that time period, you're just like, boy, I'd like to play here or do this, or not really, not yet.
Yeah, I think everyone, when they're entering the NWSL draft, they know it's not a guarantee to be able to play in this league. So definitely have thought about playing in Europe and whatnot. But now that I'm in the NWSL, it's been better than I've ever expected. And honestly, like, would have no problem playing here. But yeah, definitely things I've thought about. I have quite a few friends from college that play abroad and have
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed that process as well. So there's great options.
It's definitely, I think that question is based in a need to unlearn MLS mindset, where every player I talk to MLS is like, yeah, this is step one, and step four is over here. I think every player that I've talked to here is like, no, I have either stumbled in or walked directly into the mountaintop where I intended to be, and where this is, I'll be here until they tell me to go elsewhere, and then I'll consider France, then I'll consider going to Italy for a while. Um, What's been the most surprising thing for you on the field and off the field as the transition to the pros happen? Is it usually it's speed of play? That's usually the thing that gets the college to pros is like, oh wow, that was you can't because you can't prepare for it. You just have to live it.
Yeah, that's definitely number one. I remember turning to some of the other rookies and being like, I feel like college was like, if we're talking basketball, it was like a half court press, and this is like a full court press. Like, it's always on you, and it's insane to adjust to, truly. But I mean, the more games you get under the belt, the easier it becomes. But even at practice, it's like, wow, okay, still not used to that. Like, here it comes, here it comes. But yeah, a learning process.
What about off the field? You were at a very. It's not like you were at some podunk, not well funded, good program in college. So you guys had what you needed to be in a professional environment. But what surprised you about being with the Spirit as far as off the field preparation, all that stuff?
Yeah, well, I think just I came into this team at such a great time. I think Michelle has invested so much money and expertise into the program, and we have so many staff members that care so deeply about their players and so many resources, and I think that's truly unique even in this league. Obviously a change from college, just having all of those resources that are top of the game, truly. So
I'm imagining like you're having a day just like a Thursday where you had training, you're a little annoyed, like man, the catering today is okay, and then someone like Tori is there, like a war veteran, like you don't even know what it used to be like here. You don't even know. So yeah, you did get here at the right time. Having like talked through it and having to talk to some, but I think you did. This is so good on you. Good luck there. That was good. Um, Last question for you, just sort of about how the season's gone so far. Obviously, you missed. I was prepping for this, and on Twitter, one of the first things was first. There's one in the Houston game where you're triple nutmegging a player at midfield, which is great. And then the other was Paige gets the first red card of 2023 in NWSL, which I bet you also didn't have your bingo card. It's like, yeah, that's probably going to be me. Uh, what's your read on the season so far? I don't think everything's clicking yet, but you can't be upset with sort of the results so far. This is if you look at this year and last year, they would take where they're at right now anytime any day of the week.
yeah, I think the way we look at it is just we want to progress every game. Like, such a cliche answer, but I truly think that that's what we're doing. And I think even this weekend against Chicago, we just progress so much. And each week we take what we're learning in practice and on film, and we're really translating it well to the field. So, yeah, obviously undefeated during league play, which is always a plus and great. But looking for those 3 points this weekend. So.
Big game this weekend. I think that they're. I saw a promotion. I don't know. You're on Instagram, so you probably saw this ad. I assume if I get targeted with Spirit ads, you definitely. If you're on this, you probably get wall to wall target on your cookie. You get the cookie on your phone for sure. But it's like a all you can eat, all you can drink mimosas. It's like a bottomless brunch. You pay $99 and you get a sweet seat and mimosas and a bottomless brunch and see the game. That whoever thought of that, A+. Very, very good. And also it's against San Diego. So this is if there's a weekend to show up, this would be the one to the other Spirit podcast has a go to games sort of like that's like their brand. And I just try to do it also. And this one is everyone likes mimosas, everyone likes brunch, and also hopefully the weather holds off and you've got a great game. And I think that this is gonna be the star studded game that I think it's the I don't know if they have a game of the week for the NWSL, but I think it's going to be, I think it's like a featured game. So that's just me saying, if you're listening to this and watching this interview, try to get out to Audi Field on Saturday. Paige, thank you so much for joining. Tell people where you're at on Instagram. You're not on Twitter, I don't think. That's right. You're too young. Your age group, your age cohort has been like Twitter's stupid. I'm on Instagram or somewhere else. Am I right?
Yeah, I love Twitter.
Yeah.
For stalking it, not for posting.
Oh, well, that is a all right. So it's possible that Paige has seen your tweets about her. If you are right, she might have name searched it, but she's not on there. She doesn't have an account. But you're on Instagram, right? What's your
It's
username?
just my name,
Your
Paige
name?
Metayer.
You gotta love that. You gotta love that. There's Aubrey's trying to get Instagram support to help change her but it's not working, and I don't have that poll, so I can't do much about it. Anyway, Paige, thank you so much for joining us. That's the end of the show this week. We'll be back on Monday, or you'll be back on Friday with the preview show where it's just me and no Ted, and then we'll have the live show on Monday. So thank you very much for joining the show.
Awesome. So
Bye.
much.
Paige, thank you. All right, so I think I'm gonna hit leave and then just leave your browser up for a minute until it says you're all uploaded, and then we're good to
Okay,
go.
thanks again.
Thank you. Bye bye.